Superior FOs often rely on structured strategies, optimized tactics, and technological advantages. However, unconventional approaches disrupt these strengths by introducing unpredictability and forcing enemies into unfamiliar situations. Throughout history and speculative fiction, numerous battles have been won, not by raw power, but by thinking differently, breaking norms, and embracing chaos. A rigid enemy expects engagements to follow logical patterns. When faced with unpredictable behavior, their planning and response mechanisms fail. In war, simulations, and strategic planning, highly advanced civilizations assume their adversaries will fight using the most efficient, calculated methods. But when an opponent embraces an erratic, seemingly reckless approach, it shatters these expectations. For example, in naval warfare, conventional strategy dictates maintaining formation and coordinating firepower. However, a fleet that disregards these principles, scattering, rushing forward in disarray, or even sacrificing ships in unorthodox ways, can confuse a disciplined force. The structured side hesitates, struggling to determine if the apparent disorder is a trick or incompetence. By the time they adjust, they have already suffered heavy losses. A technologically superior force often optimizes weapons and defenses against common threats. When an opponent attacks with outdated, brute force methods, it exposes unforeseen weaknesses. Energy shields designed to repel plasma or laser weaponry may be useless against kinetic weapons. Advanced targeting systems built to predict rational movement struggle against erratic, seemingly random maneuvers. The unconventional side forces the enemy into a reactive state, where traditional strengths become liabilities. Psychology also plays a role. A highly trained force expects logical behavior from its opponents. When they encounter reckless, nonsensical actions such as an enemy sacrificing valuable assets in unexpected ways or engaging in seemingly pointless maneuvers, it creates doubt. Leaders second-guess their responses, hesitate, and sometimes even make fatal mistakes by overanalyzing. Victory doesn't always belong to the most advanced, disciplined force. Sometimes, the side willing to embrace chaos, take risks, and defy conventional logic will overwhelm even the most superior enemy. Wars are rarely won by the strongest or most technologically advanced side alone. Victory often belongs to those who can adapt to changing conditions, unpredictable threats, and evolving battlefields. Adaptability allows forces to counter unexpected strategies, exploit emerging opportunities, and turn disadvantages into strengths. A rigid military doctrine assumes conflicts will unfold in predictable ways. However, the reality of war is chaos, plans fail, intelligence is flawed, and enemies act unpredictably. Armies that rely too heavily on preset strategies struggle when their assumptions collapse. Those who can quickly assess new situations and adjust tactics on the fly gain the upper hand. History is filled with examples of less powerful forces defeating superior opponents through adaptability. Guerrilla fighters, for instance, often triumph over conventional armies by refusing to engage in traditional battles. Instead, they adjust tactics based on terrain, enemy weaknesses, and available resources, constantly shifting their approach to avoid predictable patterns. In contrast, armies that rely strictly on doctrine and rigid command structures find themselves outmaneuvered. Technology also evolves rapidly during wartime. Forces that embrace change, experiment with new strategies, and integrate unexpected innovations can turn the tide of battle. A military that clings to outdated tactics, even with superior weapons, risks being outclassed by a flexible opponent. When faced with a new form of attack or an unforeseen threat, adaptability allows an army to modify its defenses, change formations, or rethink its entire strategy. Beyond tactics, adaptability also affects leadership and morale. Soldiers trained to think independently and adjust to battlefield conditions can operate effectively even when cut off from command. In contrast, armies that depend on strict hierarchies may falter when orders become obsolete. The ability to learn, improvise, and evolve in real time often determines the outcome of conflicts, proving that adaptability is just as crucial as firepower. Precision is often viewed as the pinnacle of military strategy, emphasizing calculated strikes, efficiency, and minimal collateral damage. However, in the right context, brute force can overwhelm even the most precise and technologically advanced opponents. Sheer power, when applied effectively, can bypass intricate defenses, exploit vulnerabilities, and render enemy tactics irrelevant. Advanced forces often optimize their strategies for efficiency, expecting engagements to follow logical patterns. Precision-based warfare relies on superior targeting systems, strategic positioning, and well-planned attacks. However, when faced with overwhelming brute force, these advantages can become meaningless. A system designed to intercept guided missiles, for example, may be completely ineffective against a barrage of unguided projectiles or massive kinetic impacts. Defenses built to withstand energy-based attacks might crumble under the sheer physical force of a high-speed collision. History and warfare demonstrate countless instances where raw power has broken through disciplined tactics. In naval combat, a heavily armored warship with devastating artillery can sometimes overpower a fleet of smaller, more advanced ships simply by absorbing their attacks and retaliating with overwhelming firepower. On the battlefield, massed infantry charges, though seemingly outdated, have at times overrun highly trained, precision-oriented forces through sheer numbers and aggression. Even in aerial combat, a heavily armed, slower aircraft can sometimes win against a nimble, precision-based opponent by trading agility for sheer durability and destructive capability. The psychological impact of brute force cannot be ignored. A force that relies on precision often assumes engagements will be controlled and strategic. When faced with relentless, overwhelming aggression, discipline can falter. The shock of an enemy that disregards strategy in favor of sheer destruction can cause hesitation, forcing even the most skilled tacticians into a defensive posture. Precision remains a powerful tool in warfare, but in the right circumstances, brute force has the potential to break through any defense, proving that raw strength applied effectively can turn the tide of battle against even the most meticulous opposition.